Lisa Snyderman, and this is Conversations on Creating to Heal. Today, I'm delighted to be speaking with Michelle Jericho Poppler in Hawaii, a multimedia dancer and performance artist. And her story is learning to be self-compassionate and pursue her dreams through ongoing mental health and medical issues. So welcome, Michelle.
Aloha.
Yeah, it's great to have you here today. So describe yourself a little bit, and maybe if you have a short mission for the kind of art that you're doing.
Well, the mission that I have always felt that I was called to as an artist was to be one that collaborates to create positive change. A positive change meaning healing, meaning socially, meaning just emotionally moving people so that they just think differently. I also perform as a cabaret burlesque dancer as like a hobby, and even my burlesque pieces, I kind of throw in like little just things that are weird, try to make people think. My very first burlesque number was actually like a drag piece where it came out like George W. Bush during the 2008 election, and I took off my clothes, and then I was Hillary Clinton.
Yes. Yeah. So what a neat mission. That is, it's so important, to be able to take that on and make people think, make people feel. I appreciate that. So I want to launch into your story, and I want to talk a little bit about what events transpired in your life. Everybody goes through something, right? What was it for you, and how did it most significantly transform you?
Well, for me, I was bullied a lot as a child because I was just weird. I always was drawing or dancing or just the little odd duck on the playground. And, being considered the other, just being that person who's just not within the norm. And I also had an undiagnosed reading disability that I didn't get diagnosed with until I was in college. Mine was my whole academic career in elementary, junior high school, and high school without knowing that I was dyslexic.
That's terrible not to know that. Yeah.
How do you know? And I always wondered why I was in the lower remedial reading classes. The kids always called me stupid. Just having that constant every single day, having the teachers and all of the kids just call you stupid was just really demeaning on my entire psyche. The only things that I felt that I was good at was, dance, and I took piano a little bit, and drawing. I love to draw. So I had a few good teachers that kind of guided me along. I had really great art teachers. All of my art instructors really fostered me. I really found my voice when I got into theater in high school, and I found my tribe of other fellow weird people. And and then I came to Honolulu. I grew up on the island of Kauai, which is a beautiful place. It's the most magical place on earth, at least. It's what people tell me. I know. I grew up there. I'm like, it's awesome. I know it's awesome. And I have the coolest parents. My dad's a carpenter who makes surfboards. My mom's an artist. She paints trucker hats for a living.
Yeah.
It's the coolest life. And they gave me such a great life. The only thing was the teasing, and that left such a scar on me. When I went to college, I had great ambitions to be an animator, and I started a project with some friends, and we invited one individual into the project that ended up just taking it over and sabotaging it in a way where he I don't know, it just turned toxic. And then after that, I was like, I don't know if I want to go into this industry because it's so male dominated, and I felt really, it made me really feel terrible. So I ended up going into graphic arts and journalism, working in newspapers
Yeah.
instead. And so I compromised on my dreams, basically. And this individual ended up going to work for Disney and doing all these wonderful things. Really, really good for him. Really great. But I let myself get in my own way. You know, like I let that experience taint, compromise on my dreams. You know, like I gave up. So for a time. And then I went back to school for animation after I was laid off from one job. And it was like kind of this awakening in a way of like, it changed what I thought was possible. You know, going back to school for what I wanted to do and revisiting my passion for art was a big milestone in my mental health healing process. It's like getting over like my own personal hang-ups of like, oh yeah, you can't do that because blah blah, you know, this is what happened to you last time. Remember? You know, that voice in your head that's like, whoa, you know what happened to you the last time you tried? You failed hard.
What has the act of creating and sharing your art, how has that helped you heal, and how has it helped others? Because I know a little bit about, you know, the fact that you do dance, for example, and that your dance can actually help empower others and shape them. So talk about that process for you.
Yeah, so in this process of like finding myself, I got back into dance, and I work with a couple of companies. I own a contemporary dance theater here in Hawaii, and I work with a Cherry Blossom Cabaret. Very different, like contemporary dance and a cabaret troupe. Yeah. But I have this great network of collaborators that, you know, like my friend Rose Wolf. I had this idea to do a dance where we were all connected, to talk about Kundalini energy, like how we have aqua cords that connect each other, and that pushing and pulling of energy. And I sketched out this dress idea, and it was basically a center dress and then 5 dancers around like a star, but each had a piece of fabric connecting to them. So we call this dance Kundalini, and every time we perform it somewhere, it's very emotionally moving. People go, whoa, what is that? We start out in a cluster, and then we kind of spread out. The photo that I submitted of it was when we did a performance after my cousin's funeral service, where we were scattering her ashes onto the North Shore. And she was young, she was 25, she died in a car accident. It's very unfortunate. And for me, doing that was the first time I was able to actually accept she had gone on to the next dimension. And I actually submitted a piece of artwork too that's it's a portrait of Sophia where she was swimming underwater, and I kind of photoshopped her into this nebula with a mermaid tail. And she was such a mermaid. She was a professional surfer and such a golden light. She had this saying that she said, love shines glow. She would always say, love shine glow. So we made these little bracelets that said love shine glow. And then she also would always say rain love. Those 2 things. She was just such a light. But she had her dark side too, and she wasn't able to overcome that. She went over. But that moment that I had, that moment with her and that little release into the sunset was both healing for me, and it was both healing for our family and friends that were watching. It was a visual, emotional release. My dancers, my beautiful friends that like graciously volunteered their time to be there that day were also felt cleansed and changed a little bit. They all had told me. In my video work, when I experiment, I do mostly experimental video production. I'm not like really like I'm going to edit a reality show or something like that. I do like weird. I'm like, oh, let's see what this does. I play a lot with a lot of overlays. I love layering.
Yeah.
It's like painting to me. I love painting. So like this stuff, I over that. And it's the overlaying meaning. But the dance, the costume and the dance that I used in that piece actually was a dance that I did at Steph Mariani's CD release party for this wave. And that piece to me was kind of like, I start off in a straitjacket with a sparkly Hannibal Lecter mask, and it was just kind of my very obvious visual for me finding myself in my old ways.
Yeah.
And how to strip myself down to the basics, strip off that old ego, and free myself to become the new me.
Yeah. What a beautiful way to visually represent what's going on inside, and to be able to have something that you did personally and be able to reflect that in dance. That's amazing. So before we go, I just wanted to invite you to share some life lessons, something that you've learned on your journey that might help somebody similar.
Never compromise on your dreams, because if it lights up your heart and it makes you really excited, like in your gut, like here, like, I believe in chakras. So it was really like here, despite what's happening here, in your mind.
Oh, yeah.
Because your mind always gives you too many options. Your mind is your left brain and your right brain. And these two hemispheres can create two different outcomes. It's either fear or love. And that's just basically the nature and the architecture of the universe. And you can see it even in politics. It's always like, fear this. No, it's about love, the frequency of love. I watched The Wrinkle in Time because it reminded me of when I was a kid. And I read that book and I blew my mind. I was like, love, man. And it's the frequency of love. And that's the architecture of manifestation. It's that love frequency will guide you to where you need to be, no matter what no matter what chaos is around you. As long as you ground yourself in your love frequency, you can timeline jump into exactly where you need to be. And also, always follow the path of least resistance. If you're in a state of love consciousness and you're following that love and that bliss, everything will fall into place.
I totally resonate.
It might be challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally resonate. So to sum up, I'll say follow your bliss and follow your heart. Thank you so much for coming on to Conversations on Creating to Heal.
Mahalo.
Mahalo.